Hey everybody, this is the United Squid podcast. I'm Cyrus, and we have a lot to talk about today. Some good things, some bad, and some that are just plain weird. But first, did you hear that SpaceX successfully launched the Dragon cargo capsule for its third trip to the International Space Station? One of the most interesting pieces on this cargo is a hotel for robots that they're now calling the Robot Hotel. At least that's what NASA's calling it. And they say it's more like a glorified storage unit for robots and tools, but it has one very important purpose. You see, the first two robots that are going to stay in this hotel are called REAL. That's RELL, which stands for Robotic External Leak Locators. What kind of leak are they locating? Well, it says that these robots will be tasked with sniffing out any gas leaks from the station, which might come in handy recently since it looks like all the toilets at International Space Station have broken down. I'm not kidding you. All of the toilets at ISS are dysfunctional, which has forced the astronauts to use diapers. Okay. All right, so it says there's two toilets at ISS. There's the Russian-made one, and then there's the U.S. model, and both of them are no longer functional. Now, according to the ISS commander Luca Parmitano, the toilet in the US section constantly signals that it isn't working, while the one in the Russian module is filled to the maximum. Now, later on, an engineer of Space Center Houston told ISS commander Luca Parmitano that the toilet, oh, thank God, They say the toilet is operational again. Oh, all right. So that's I guess they've updated the story since I added it to the pile here. So great news for the ISS. Now there's some kind of disheartening news coming out of Japan, depending on how you look at it. A Japanese man was arrested for calling his phone company 24,000 times to complain. Now, I've got to say, before I get into this, a part of me sympathizes with this old man. He's just 71 years old. Well, I don't know why I say just, but he's 71 years old, and I just feel like this has more to do with, he doesn't have a job, perhaps. Maybe he's retired, or he doesn't have any family nearby. I feel like he just has nothing to do, and he just needs attention. So that's sad, but then again, well, let's read more about this. It says Akitoshi Okamoto, let's say that, Okamoto sounds better, of Kasukabe is under investigation for allegedly pestering the staff of telecommunications company KDDI with dozens of daily calls over the course of 2 years. All right, that was my first question. I was going to ask, did he call them 24,000 times in a week or in a month? I feel like if it's over 2 years, I don't know, you have to do the math, figure out how often are we talking about here. According to the company, Okamoto was upset that his telephone was not able to pick up radio broadcast. Okay, you know what? I've lost my sympathy at this point. I don't know why. If he had picked a better hill to die on, like if he had picked a better reason to essentially harass the company, I would maybe feel sorry for him. Like something I could relate to. Like if he said, "Hey, my Wi-Fi isn't working. Hey, I paid my bills, but I don't see any signal." Radio, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just. Of course, I'm recording a podcast right now, but I just feel like this is a BS reason to be calling in. Like, I don't think your phone is supposed to pick up radio broadcast usually, is it? Do they? I mean, I don't count podcasts as radio, but all right, let's go back into this story. It says, at first, KDDI was reluctant to press charges against the paying customer. They don't mention, it's an elderly paying customer, which had to, weigh on their conscience. But the volume of his calls became too large to ignore, and making it difficult to provide service to other clients. The tipping point came in the month before the arrest when Okamoto called them 411 times in a single week, demanding they apologize for violating their contract. Wow. Okay. All right, let's figure out what happened to this guy. He got arrested. Anything else? I don't know. Like, I need a follow-up on this. Like, what happens after he's arrested? Do they just take him in and fine him, or does he have to serve jail time? And I think this is going to become a bigger and bigger problem for Japan because, according to a 2018 survey, 28.4% of the country consists of individuals over the age of 65. Wow. I mean, on the one hand, that's great. Don't hear me out. It's good because it means your people are healthy, they're living long lives. That's a good thing. That's why we wanted to live in this modern age with, technology and medicine. We want to live longer. But I mean, this is a problem that a lot of officials and leaders haven't even quite figured out how to tackle, which is, what are we going to do, not just Japan, but everybody, with this aging population around the world? People are getting too old to work, but, you want to treat them humanely, and, everybody needs a place in society. But if you're retired and you got nothing to do, idle hands make the devil's plaything. So we got to figure out something real quick. But next up on our list here, we have, more bad news. I said that there would be good news, but we're just, here's some bad news. There was a woman fined for being too short to get rubbish into her bin. Obviously, this is out of the UK since they use the word rubbish. But she has to pay £100 or risk being taken to court. I have to read this again. We need context because they say woman fined for being too short, but I'm sure there must be they definitely didn't write her a ticket saying you're too short. There has to be some explanation for this. So let's see. It says a woman has been fined £100 by her local council for being too short. Okay, that's what they already told us. They said she's too short to put rubbish in her bin. Tia Goldsmith has been sent a letter informing her she has been fined £1,200. Okay. For leaving cardboard rubbish next to her bin when she could reach to drop it inside. You know what? I gotta admit, the headline is a little misleading. They're not really charging her for being short. They're charging her for not dropping the rubbish in the bin and just laying it next to the bin. But I'm still gonna side with her, even if she was super tall. If she was like an NBA player, I'm still siding with her. You put it's cardboard. It's not like rancid meat. It's just cardboard, and she stuck it. It's right by the bin. What's the deal? Now it says Tia 36 has lodged an appeal against the fine on the grounds that at 4 feet tall, she was not big enough to put the recyclables into the wheelie bin. Yeah, you know what? I'm looking at a picture of her right now. Dude, let her go. Let her go. It's just, this is not actually the trash bin necessarily. This is the recyclable bin. So it's not like, I would feel bad for the garbage man if it was rancid meat or dirty diapers or something that people just tossed out on the side of the street. I'd be like, man, are you for real? But cardboard? You can pick up and she did put it beside the bin. And if you look at her, dude, I don't know what is in your mind when you think 4 feet tall, what you're envisioning, but I'm telling you, this woman is definitely, she is short, There's no way she could get it in the bin. All right, yeah, so I'm siding with Tia Goldsmith, and I hope that she doesn't have to pay that fine. That's just insane. All right, let's get into some good news. I'm going to switch the headlines to some good news now because I'm tired of hearing about old Japanese guys being arrested and short ladies being fined. Okay, so this is awesome. A dad spent 1,200 hours renovating a Back to the Future car. Oh my gosh. So he can use it to pick up his kids from school. This looks amazing. It really looks like the DeLorean. All right, so a 37-year-old movie fan has restored an old DeLorean car from the Back to the Future movies so he can use it to pick up his kids from school. His name's James Napper. It says he spent a fortune. I got to figure out how much he spent. This might turn into a sad story once I figure out if he's... Oh, no. Okay, let me just preface it with this. The car does look amazing. It really looks like the one from the movie, from Back to the Future. But, my gosh, he spent 55,000 pounds. I got to see. How much is that in USD? What does that convert to? To USD, let's find out. 55,000 pounds is wow, $72,000. You know what? I'm not gonna spoil one of my positive headlines by throwing a wet towel on this. I will say I would not have spent that much, but in the grand scheme of things, you could do a lot worse. This is a really awesome car. But I need to know, let's read about this. The daughters like it, because they're making this out like, you can read this headline at unitedsquid.com, but they're making this out like the kids love it. Like he did this for his kids. I feel like he did this for himself, all right? But let's, not that there's anything wrong with that, but, all right, it says, James Napper says that he takes the car out to pick up his 3 kids, 16-year-old Paige. I'm not sure if Paige, appreciates this. 13-year-old Devon or Devon, I'm not sure. Devon might like this. And 8-year-old Daisy, I'm telling you, 8-year-old Daisy loves it. Okay, well worth the 55,000 pounds. So he picks them up from school every day in the silver motor. I take it out on weekends. Come on now. That's for you. I take it out on weekends. I drop my kids off at school or football sometimes. What do you mean sometimes? Who else picks them up? I think it's maybe the mom. They like it, and their friends find it quite amusing. You see other people's jaws drop when we drive past. The family adores it, although my wife Emma probably doesn't want to know how much it cost me to restore in total. Yeah, James. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Here's the King fan said he has also taken the car to charity events. All right, you know what? Total redemption now for spending all that money. Total redemption. If you take it to charity events, you have totally absolved yourself of any irresponsible accusations or accusations of irresponsibility. Yeah. All right, man. So, James, more power to you. I gotta admit, just looking at it, it is an amazing, amazing replica, or I guess you could call design that he's renovated here. So, again, good on him. Also, I'm going to consider this positive news. Do you know how you have to always rewrite your passwords? When you're creating a new password, you always have to have a capital letter or include some sort of symbol, include punctuation marks. I have to have at least, a number in there. The guy, this is kind of old news, but the guy who invented those stupid password rules, he now has apologized. This is serious. He regrets wasting all of our time. All right, now, this is coming from Bill Burr. Really? Huh, okay. We need to fact check this because Bill Burr, is this the comedian? It says the former manager at the National Institute of Standards and Technology. Okay. It sounds legit. Just very coincidental name there you got, Mr. Burr. So apparently he wrote this 8-page guide on how to create secure passwords in 2003. But he says he didn't actually know much about passwords and how they worked, and he was basically going off of old protocols from the 80s before the web was like, well known and used everywhere prolifically. So, yeah, they say the now 72-year-old bureaucrat wants to say sorry. And you know what? He says in the end, the guidelines are probably too complicated for a lot of folks to understand. And the truth is, it was barking up the wrong tree. They say that simple math shows that a shorter password with wacky characters is much easier to crack, than a long string of, I think they mean it's much more difficult to crack than a long string of easy to remember words. Yeah, that's true. So if you just, I don't know, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that's true, but it seems like to me, if you just had 4 or 5 just random letters and symbols, that probably would be harder to crack than if you like wrote out some words, just included one capital letter, which is most likely going to be the first letter, let's be honest. And then just put underscore. Yeah, dude, I think it would be, well, look, point being, Bill Burr has wasted all of our time. Okay, and he has apologized for that. All right, even if it is, whether it's secure or less secure, I don't care. The point being, it is a complete waste of my time. So thank you for the apology. I think, I'm in a very giving mood today. I accept Bill Burr's apology. Okay, you heard it here first. All right, now can we please look? I don't mind if we have to have something. If you need, my big one is capital letters. Why do we need capital letters? And why do we need, like, I could be wrong, but I feel like I've used symbols, but they tell me I need to use more symbols. Like, why not just whatever? You know what? Thank you for the apology, Mr. Burr. Thank you. Okay? Now, this next story is going to be more about sports. It says here that a golfer embraced a fan with Down syndrome whose yell caused him to lose a crucial game-making shot. Aw. No, this is good news. So, yeah, the golfer hugged the fan who apparently, made him lose the game. But the fan had Down syndrome, and it's just amazing here to see them embrace. Now, this happened, let's see here. It happened in an open golf tournament in Argentina. It was a sudden death playoff. Okay. Just as he was preparing to make the shot, this is pro golfer Brandon Matthews. He was interrupted by a spectator's shout from the gallery who disrupted his concentration, so he flinched. Do we have video of this? I need to watch the video. This actually sounds like it would be really funny. All right, so he flinched and he missed the putt, thus losing the match and his spot in the Open. All right, now Matthews thought that someone had distracted him on purpose, but then the tournament administrator approached him in the locker room and they told him who screamed. Yeah, okay, so I'm guessing since he thought somebody did it on purpose, was he like very irritated in the locker room, like just throwing his towel around, like, why? Like, how angry? He must have been pissed. All right. Anyway, so I guess his administrator told him, "Hey, it's a middle-aged guy with the Down syndrome. They just got excited and they lost control of themselves when they let out the scream during your shot." Oh man. And so after that, Matthews asked to meet the fan. Oh my gosh, this is heartwarming. All right, he says, "I was around mental disability growing up, and I have a soft spot in my heart for it. Those are really special people," Matthews told the Golf Channel. "I felt so terrible that I was even upset. I just want to make sure that he didn't feel bad." He also offered to sign the man's glove, make sure he was having a good time, and gave him a hug. Man, It's stories like that. It's stories like that that just make my day. Did they talk to the guy with Down syndrome? Let's see here. No. I would have enjoyed that. I feel like there was a book I read many, many years ago when I was a young lad. It was... I know... The weird thing is I know the... Okay, I got it. The book's name is The Man Who Loved Clowns. I'm telling you, I don't care how old you are, you should go out and read that book. It's about a man. I think it was Down syndrome. I'm pretty sure. What was his name? The author came to an event that I was at when I was a kid, kind of like one of those scholastic events, or just one of those meet the author book fairs. What was his name? His name wasn't Lucky. It wasn't Buddy Pucky. It was based on a true story, and it's just really heartwarming. It's about this. Now, it's been so long, I almost forget what it's about. I can't remember if it's the girl's brother or if it was her uncle. But either way, she had this person with Down syndrome in her life. Let me look at this up, because The Man Who Loved Clowns. I don't want to mess this up as I'm talking about it, as I go off on this tangent. But yeah, I definitely recommend this book. And it was a novel by June Ray Wood. She was really amazing. And it's based on her own personal experience with her brother, Richard. Now, that was her experience, but I forget if it was the same experience in the book. Yeah, it's her. Now, in the book, it's her Uncle Punky. Wow, I'm actually kind of proud of myself, because I did guess Pucky. Now, it's not the same, but it's really close. And I haven't read this book, and it's got to be, almost 20 years. Yeah, wow. Anyway, she also wrote a sequel called Turtle on a Fence Post. They're both really great books. I'm telling you, you're gonna cry your eyes out. That's my book recommendation this week. Now it's mostly geared towards like middle school students, but I don't care. I'm still recommending it. It's good. All right, so let's move on here. Let's talk about some trading card news. Now, this is only for those of you out there who like to play Pokémon or Magic the Gathering, things like that. But even if you don't, some of this might be interesting. So the good news is, if you don't enjoy those things, you can still take these headlines and just talk to your friends who like it. Apparently, there's a Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword and Shield cards have arrived. Now, these are going to be based off of the new Switch games, and you can read our review about it over on unitedsquid.com. The Pokemon card game, however, just added some of those characters, some of those new Pokemon from these recent games, and they've added a card called VMAX. What is a VMAX card? Well, it's a new archetype that's being introduced in the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion. Let's get into this. If you're familiar with the card game, you know that we have had GX cards, and now recently we've had Tag Team GX cards, which are, man, I got a really awesome Pikachu Zekrom Tag Team shiny card I'm just so proud of. But anyway, the VMAX card that says they could take over as the powerhouses of the set because they have high health bars and strong attacks. Now, this to me, they look, basically it's like GX on steroids, because you have Pokemon here. Look, I have a Tag Team card right here on this table. Let me see. Yeah, my Tag Team card is the Espeon and Deoxys. And, is it Deoxys or Deoxys? Oh, whatever. This is a GX card, Tag Team GX card. The HP is only 260 on this one that I have in my hand right now. The VMAX card that I'm looking at on the screen, it's a Snorlax VMAX. Dude, 340 HP. I gotta be honest. Now, it looks... What? It evolves from Snorlax V. Alright, so we're going to have the V cards that evolve to the V Max. Alright, you know what? It suddenly makes a ton of sense. I'm so stupid. It's based off of the Gigantamax feature, the Gigantamax function that's in the Sword and Shield games. Alright. Just because of that, I'm gonna give it a pass. I think it is kind of cool that they're collaborating and kind of making it crossover with some of the game mechanics. That makes total sense. And I gotta be honest, it just is so awesome to look at a card that has that high of HP. At the same time, I have played Pokemon, the card game, with GX cards and tag team cards. And for me, I enjoy collecting GX cards in the tag team cards because they look cool, but I don't really like playing with GX cards. They just, I don't know. They just they make everything. I guess I'm more of a feng shui kind of minimalist guy. I just want things to be clean and just tidy. And once you get up into like I've got the GX card, it's like a Russian roulette. It just takes kind of the fun, and you can use them strategically. There is a lot of strategy with them. But you've got to be playing against other experienced players to really, enjoy it at that point, I think. I prefer the good old days when it's just a good old-fashioned Pokemon match. But either way, these VMAX cards, they do look kind of cool. I'll give them that. They have a VMAX Lapras. They have a VMAX, of course, Snorlax, which we just saw. And I don't know here. What else do we got? Looks like these are coming out in February 2020. So, I'm kind of complaining about them right now, but I'm going to be out there buying that in 2020. I'm gonna have to. I need to try to train my daughter. Gotta teach her how to play Pokemon, so I have someone to play with on a regular basis. Just whenever I want to play the GX cards, I usually have people who are kind of new to the series or the card game play with me, and I just have to always mentor them, and I've just found it easier not to overcomplicate things with these kind of cards. But gotta be honest, they do look cool. It says you can attach them to V cards, and they're basically like, you remember the Diamond and Pearl era? They're basically like the Diamond and Pearl level X cards that were used back in the day. And also in some other Pokemon news, at least for the card game, it says that they're gonna make changes to their secret rare cards. Slight changes to the full art and secret rare cards. Pokemon Company, they released the first Japanese sets for this series. And again, this is talking a little bit about Pokemon V and Pokemon V Max, but they also added some other changes to the holo foils because they added a new style of patterns. And we can check those out too, along with the V Max cards when they arrive stateside in 2020. Man, okay. Oh, I'm looking forward to it now. I don't know why. This is always the pattern I get into. I hear the new news. I'm resistant to the change. I'm kind of critical of it. And then I don't know. I just get pumped. I'm like, man, I want to see these new holofoil cards with this new texture. And, I'm kind of still on the fence about VMAX, but, I actually enjoy the tag team cards. Again, I enjoy collecting them, not so much actually using them. But anyway, other trading card news. Moving over to the Magic the Gathering side of things, I actually haven't played Magic in quite a while. The last thing I really got into with Magic was their board game. They had, what was that? The Arch Enemy. Yeah, Arch Enemy board game, which I really enjoyed. If you have the more people you have to play that, the better. But I definitely don't play Magic Pro at all. I'm not pro, but I have heard that they're going to be changing the rules for tiebreakers in the 2020 season, which you might want to look out for. As I know, the Magic Pro games are going to be limiting the seats to just 24 players, I think, in 2020. And then also they have some rules about, again, how they do tiebreakers, which basically, as I understand it, it's like they look at who finished the highest at the Mythic Championship, and then they just kind of go down the line, like, all right, who's the second highest, who's the third highest, and then they keep going down until the tie is broken. So it's they're looking at your whole record here. I'm as I understand it, at least in the championship. Now this pro season is going to start running from January to July. That's the partial pro season anyway. And the Magic World Championship is scheduled to take place next February 2020. So, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to like more consistency. I want to try to get back into at least watching these pro games. But there is some bad news. There's a bit of old news regarding Magic. But if you do enjoy playing Magic the Gathering Arena or Magic Online, last month they did have a security data breach. And they do recommend, if you haven't done it already, you have to reset your password. You probably already got the notification if you're a regular player. But as I heard, it was like, I don't know. I think I heard it was tens of thousands of players whose first, last names, email addresses, and passwords were leaked. Now, they were stored in hashed and salted form, but, well, these things happen. All right, so that's about it for today's news, at least for the trading card side. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to point out, it wasn't just tens of thousands. It looks like it was 452,000 players whose data was breached in that security attack. So, that is unfortunate. Now, looking at some entertainment news, I did see an awesome new trailer for Lupin the Third. If you know Lupin the Third, it's a really popular anime series from Japan. Hayao Miyazaki actually directed one of the Lupin the Third movies, which was really amazing. I think you can watch it maybe on Netflix. I'm probably going to butcher the name. Again, it's one of those things I haven't seen in a long time. It's called Castle of Cagliostro, I think. And now Lupin the Third is coming back in this amazing new movie, which just released a trailer that you can look up online. And it has totally 3D CG animation. And when I first saw it, I thought, this kind of looks like the animation that we saw in the... Now, it looks better than the new Pokémon movies 3D animation that came out in Japan over the summer. But it looked a lot also like the Doraemon movies. A lot of people in America aren't familiar with Doraemon. If you look up a movie called Stand By Me, Doraemon, the animation for this new Lupin the Third movie was really reminiscent of that. And it makes sense because it's actually the same director. But he's even upped his game further. Somehow they're able to capture the feeling you get when you look at traditional 2D animation and anime. And it just looks... It still boggles my mind. Even the Peanuts movie by, I think it's Blue Sky Studios, the studio that makes the Ice Age movies, that boggled my mind when I saw just how they replicated Charles Schultz's style into this kind of quasi 3D style, but not really, I don't know. It's just very impressive, very impressive. Look it up, Lupin the Third, the first. I'm guessing this is the first rebooted movie of this new Lupin the Third series. I'm excited. I hope it gets an English translation. So let's end the news today with some more positivity. After being extinct in the wild, Mexican wolves will finally roam the U.S. desert once again, thanks to a former wolf hunter. I gotta say, a lot of mixed feelings on my end for these titles, for these headlines. All right, let's figure out, is this really good? It's like, hey, we saved some almost extinct wolves. A part of me is happy, and then like the lizard part of my brain is like freaking out. Like, why would you do that? Like, why are you saving these wolves? All right, so let's learn a little bit more about this situation. It says that the U.S. is proud of its wildlife conservation, but let's see here. In 1970, the last Mexican wolf in the U.S. was killed in Texas on December 8th. Wow, they even knew the day that it happened? What? How did they... Okay, just don't ask questions, I guess. Like, the guy who did it, he knew what he was doing. It was like, this is the day. Or like, somebody was just watching, like, no! Mark my words, you've done it. All right, so leaving only a small and reviled population hiding out in northern Mexico that would just occasionally stray into southern Arizona and New Mexico. All right, so how did we fix this? Roy T. McBride, who was a legendary, or is a legendary trapper hired by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, began some operations in the late 70s. Wow. He was able to trap enough wolves to create a stable breeding population and later reintroduced the Mexican wolves to the U.S. range. Wow. McBride was once a wolf hunter, along with other ranchers in the Rio Grande. According to one story about McBride, he followed a wolf for 11 months across northern Mexico. He called her Las Margaritas. Or Las Margaritas. And it was a male wolf. I don't feel sorry anymore. The wolf regularly killed young cattle. What? It had 2 toes missing on its front paw. What? I'm just entering in a totally other reality right now. So, well, the good news is he's been helping out since, I guess, now they're saying he's reintroduced at least 109 Mexican wolves to the U.S. And he's protecting even more on both sides of the border. I guess there's 240 other wolves that are in breeding centers that are under his control, Mr. McBride. So, good job to him. Thank you for saving those wolves. I just hope they don't kill any more young cattle. I'm sorry. I just keep coming in with this, cynicism. Here's a story I won't be cynical about. Last story of today. Going to leave you all on the most positive note possible. Go tell your friends at-home urine test for prostate cancer could replace uncomfortable clinic visits and save lives. That's right. Scientists from the University of East Anglia and Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital pioneered this test, and they have to diagnose aggressive prostate cancer, which will predict whether the patient requires treatment up to 5 years earlier than the standard clinical methods. All right, this is awesome. Now, they first published this in Biotechniques. It shows how the prostate urine risk could be performed on samples collected at home. This means that men don't have to go into the clinic and give a urine sample or have to go through that awful rectal examination. Now, I know a lot of you aren't old enough to appreciate this news. I'm not even quite there yet. But, I'm forward thinking. This is positive. This is the beginning of a new thing, I think, a new era where hopefully you can test, yourself for all sorts of stuff just from home without having to, schedule an appointment and go in and have to wait in a waiting room for hours and just undergo this humiliating exam. So I'm happy for this. They said it also could help the development of home collection tests for bladder and kidney cancer. Guys, this is awesome. All right. I don't care how old you are. This is awesome. So tell your friends, tell your loved ones, especially those who might actually need something like this, because this could just make their day. All right, well, that's all for now. This is, again, Cyrus with the United Squid. You have been listening to the United Squid podcast. Thank you so much. And if you would, please check us out online at unitedsquid.com. You can also follow us on Facebook or on Twitter at United Squid, as well as anywhere else, any of those other fine social media platforms, I'm sure. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you next time.